Oopsies, thank you so much for joining me in this YouTube video. So if you are new here, welcome to the Poopsie Tribe. We're a family of baby poopsies. Those are poopsies, right there. You're like my little birds, and I'm Papa Bird. Okay, so anyway, every YouTuber has their name they call their subscribers, so mine is Poopsie, so that's what it is. It's a cute name for a bird, in my opinion. It started long ago, so that's what that is. It's not a derogatory term, it's not an insult, it's not to offend you, it's not to call you a poop emoji. It's a poopsie. It's just, if you get it, you get it, and you subscribe. You tap the bell and you hit all notifications if you get it, okay? On Wednesdays we wear pink. No, I'm playing, but I also have a website, Bomboni.com. If you would like to book your own services from me, I offer Reiki, Tarot, ASMR, coffee cup, candle wax readings, along with many other services on there. I have OnlyFans, I have Patreon, I have Cameo, I have my book, I have my merchandise, so much, my ASMR albums, so much more in there. You can go and check it out using these coupon codes for my bookings in the corner. Alright, so let's begin. That's the best way to support this channel, help get the lights on, help me keep producing daily content for you. Okay, but make sure for the daily content, you hit that all notifications so you can get notified of the daily content, otherwise you're going to miss my videos, okay? So let's begin. Today's video is about books I have been reading for the past few months, not too long, probably within the past half a year, maybe less. I do read books a lot, so I like to read a chapter a day. I try to at least do that, so I'll get started with the first book, and then there's a couple books. One I just started reading today, and then one that I have yet to read, but I'm gonna share anyway because I thought the story behind it was pretty cool. So anyway, alright, the first one I'm gonna share is, and I have shown all of these in videos at least once before, either just tapping on them or talking about them briefly, but I want to bring it all into one video to show you what I've been reading lately and kind of like what a lot of my inspiration in life is behind lately. I do believe reading books is food for the soul. I don't know who said that, if it's Maya Angelou or someone. It's food for the soul, so I do believe that in my spirit, that it really is, truly. So I'm keeping my hoodie like this because it's still hot in Florida. Like, we have not had a winter at all. So, but I do want the winter spirit, so I'm just gonna at least put it there on my shoulders. Okay, so let's move on. This is Ask Big by Terry Savelle Foy, and I read all of her stuff. I've read all of her books. She has like 13, I think, books, or 14 books, I don't know. But I've read all her books, and Change Your Life Through the Power of Asking. So, she does talk about the Bible. She's a person of faith, okay, and I am as well. I don't consider myself religious anyway, but I do have faith, so if that makes sense, right? I don't follow, like, word for word exactly everything. I just like to believe in a source nowadays, and it helps me, and I believe a lot of what it says, and, whether you consider me lukewarm or not, I don't care. That's irrelevant to me. What's relevant is what is in someone's heart. So that's that. So I mostly like to improve my life, be a better person, and there's so many different interpretations behind the Bible, so I don't take everything literally word for word, as a lot of people may or may not do. Everyone's different. I respect everyone's beliefs and everyone's different forms and versions of faith. We're all different, so no one knows the answers at the end of the day. We're all just compiling and gathering information and trying to figure out what to make of this life in general. So, but she helps in a big way to, first of all, motivate you. I do apologize, my throat. To motivate you and to inspire you, okay, to keep going. And I felt like I was at a breaking point in my life before I looked more deeply into her work. I've been following her for about a good 5 or 6 years now, but I've never been reading her work until the last 2 years. So once I started, things just started to shift and change in indescribable ways for me, more than crystals have ever done, more than do for me, and when she kind of inspired through her message to tap into source, it changed me forever. And like, I literally, this is not sponsored, but I have her to thank for a lot of a realization and going after my goals, my dreams, having a vision for my life again. And huge shout out to Terry. She's awesome. And even though, like, this book may look small, don't underestimate the size, because, yeah, this will, get you to ask for more, right? Like, a lot of times we, have been in positions in our life, and I speak from experience, where we need to have enough to fill gas in our car, or have enough to eat today. Yes, I've been there, believe it or not. People don't believe me when I say that. Like, I was literally scraping. Yes, I was. Okay? Been there and done that, where I literally scrape even for a coffee. Like, how sad is that? Like, for $2, right? But I've been there, and she kind of really changed the game for me, and like really made me think bigger, even bigger than I already am right nowadays. And I wish like someone just slapped this book or her work in my face. This is a new book, so that couldn't have been possible back then. But you know, books like this that can make me realize to think bigger, not just to ask for at that time to fill gas in my car, to like get a coffee or something, or like food, you know, but to actually ask for a house, you know, the mansion of my dreams or something, right? And even though we don't all desire the same things, right? Like, we don't all desire big things, nice cars, bougie purses, to travel the world, but to still ask big. Maybe you want that marriage, maybe you want that Harvard education, right? Like, it could be literally anything. It doesn't have to be like, you know, something like that most people think is super extraordinary, right? One person can value an education, and other people can value having a mansion, right? Like, it just doesn't matter what it is, as long as you dare to ask big and for what's uncomfortable for you to ask for. So it definitely opens and broadens the perspective of your mind to think bigger, to dream bigger, and to know that that's God, right? Like, God can do anything in this. He can just blow his breath and magic happens, right? So we have to think like we're so small. Like, have you ever been on a skyscraper and looked down? Oh my God, we are almost irrelevant. Like, we're not, but we are, you know what I mean? You can't even see people from that far. In like the 100th floor, right? Heck, from like the 20th floor. Have you ever even been on like a 20th floor? You like, so small. So it just makes you realize in perspective how big life, the world is, the universe, how much you can ask for, how much you know that you can be worth, right? So when you look back on like, oh my God, I can't believe I was praying for a cup of coffee today, because I barely could have enough to get by in college. Yeah, it makes you realize, holy cow, there's so much more, and that we're only limited by what we have in our surroundings, right? Like, if you close a zoo animal in a cage, they only know what's in that cage and what they see outside of the cage, nothing else. So they will not know what's out there until they're out of that cage. You see what I'm saying? So that's pretty much our whole life, is the existence of what we see. And if we see long enough, it comes to reality. Okay, so that's what I got from that book. And excuse me, I'm gonna go get a water so I don't sound raspy for the rest of this video. Another one by her, and I think this is the last one of hers that I've been reading recently, this within the last few months. Don't Shrink Your Dream, Enlarge Your Faith, also by Terry Savelle Foy. So it says you can achieve every God-given dream in your heart. So yeah, again, a smaller, simpler read. I like the colors too, but yeah, she was basically talking about at a point in her life where she said she didn't reach her goals. Like, she has goals every year, and she has a vision board and stuff. like multiple vision boards, I think, and which is a good thing, right? And it didn't come true at a certain deadline she wanted to come true. So instead of like shrinking the dream, she just enlarged it more. Like God told her. She gets like messages in her ear, like God will whisper her something in her ear. She'll be like, wait, what? And I think that's how a lot of us communicate with God. But she said that he told her to enlarge her faith, basically, you know, just like that last book, Ask Big, Dream Bigger. Think bigger, broaden your mind, right? Just because it doesn't come true, that only propels us to seek for more, right? And so it's one and the same type of message, but simple, pretty straightforward, quick, like very quick read, easy to read. Of course, has quotes from the Bible as well to pair with her faith and her method of teachings. And yeah, she actually even has a conference coming up, and I wish I could have attended, but I have things to do that week. But yeah, maybe I can get the online version. But yeah, so basically the same kind of message. I won't go too long into it. That's another great one. And I like that she offered, I think, these 2 books with donation, like any donation, literally you can get this book, so it was pretty cool. Alright, so this is one book that I just finished reading today, actually, and it's called Tough. And boy, this book was a tough read, like, at least for me. I've been slowly working my way into readings that would be more advanced, because before I started actively reading about a couple years ago, I read on and off, and before that I haven't read a single book in years. So yeah, this was a little bit of a challenge for me. I had to pause and look up a lot of definitions of certain words, and really reread over and over again certain pages, because to really let it sink in. And so it says Building True Mental, Physical, and Emotional Toughness for Success and Fulfillment by Greg Everett. Essential reading for every person that aspires to be better, and inspiring and enlightening read for anyone looking to understand what truly tough means and why it matters. So yeah, this guy has loads of experience in a lot of avenues in life that would require you to be tough. So, from physical fitness and training to survival skills, I love the stuff like that. Prepping stuff, you know, prepping for what's to come. And whether you believe that or not, it is what it is. But this is a great way to keep you in that mentality of just not only the principle. Everyone thinks tough is like, oh, I'm gonna be this buff, muscular dude or lady and treat everyone like crap and like I'm better than you. No, this actually teaches you to humble yourself down, and not down, but you know what I'm saying, like not to be that kind of person that most people think toughness is. Like if you sit in a discussion group and ask everyone what they think tough is, a lot of people would say the same thing, but it's not actually what it is, right? But to be tough is to be more flexible and resilient with life's changes, and this really spoke to me on a deeper scale. You know, it's even on the cover, you know, the hands holding, right? It's showing like the muscles that they're tough, but they're holding each other's hands, right? There's that aspect that people forget, like tough is being able to merge, even if someone doesn't agree with you and your beliefs, right? He dives deep into every possible thing you can think of behind being tough and what it means and how it can define you and your principle of living your life. So I would recommend reading this book. It will teach you a lot, and without hurting your feelings. A lot of books tend to do that, but this one didn't do that at all for me, surprisingly. I thought it was going to be one of those books, but it really didn't, like, make me really sit and dwell and question my life, because I've been living like this, actually, for a very long time, and that's why it really spoke to me, and I like reading books that don't make me feel like I'm going crazy, because, like, oh my god, there's actually other people out there who think and feel the same I do, and although I may not look tough on the outside, people don't know, myself, but to share with others as well what it means to be tough. So this really made me realize a lot, but also learn a lot of new words. I know it sounds like I'm like a 4th grader, but I guess my inner child is speaking. Yeah, a lot of times things I say, people are like, oh my god, Tony, are you like 12? Maybe. I mean, whatever. Maybe I'm weird and special and different. I don't care. Okay, moving on. Alright, so the next book is J. Oswald Sanders' Spiritual Maturity, Principles of Spiritual Growth for Every Believer. At first, I thought this was about, like, actual, like, spiritual, like, I'm talking, what most people think spiritual is, and that's why I bought this book, but it was actually also, Bible verses, which I don't mind. I like a mix of spirit and spirit, you know what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. I don't really read into too deeply or heavily, like, occultic stuff, really. I never did. I always liked a mix of faith with other forms of faith as well. I guess I'm very neutral in my belief, and I don't really agree or disagree on anything. But this was more deeply involved in the teaching of the Bible, and I thought, okay, let me get through it. It was another bit of a challenging read, just like the book Tough. This was maybe a bit more challenging because it was things that I didn't necessarily understand that deeply or relate to in the moment. I had to really sit in it and again repeat a few pages just to grasp the concept, because there's a lot of words in the pages, and there are a lot of pages in general. I had to just understand that, okay, as a person who's never read the Bible, this helped me understand more of what's in it and how I can comprehend it on a deeper scale, so that when I move forward reading it, I'll know more. Right now I'm on Samuel 21, so I still went far, but I have a ways to go in reading and truly understanding the Bible. And you know, people think, oh, you read the Bible, you must be religious. No, I'm not, but I read it because I want to know more, and I'm always learning, and I'm a very curious spirit, and there's just a lot that I'm into without being into a lot at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't have that many interests at all in life. Like, I really don't. What most people are into, I'm just not. But I'm pretty boring and simple. But I do like to read a lot into different things, so that I have a firm grasping understanding of how everything works, I guess, on this planet, if that makes sense. So, yeah, this was basically how you could be more spiritually mature and understanding. It was more a discussion, though. It would be great, like a Bible study, group study, book club kind of book, where you can sit around and discuss and have little questions at the end, and asks you, like, okay, what did you think about this quote and what it means to you, how it connects to your life. You see what I'm saying? Like, stuff we would do in like high school maybe, or college, like little discussion group circles where we would say, okay, how did this affect you, or how does this influence or impact your decision making in life, and whatever else. But it made you connect more to God and Jesus, which I like for sure, and is a principle I live by and what I do, and that works for me. Again, it's not a book for everyone, that's for sure, okay? But it really shows you that there's so much more on a deeper scale understanding, rather than reading the book once and thinking you know it all. You don't, because you need books like this to kind of show you interpretations, and there's different minds that play into different interpretations of what different scriptures and verses indicate in everyone's life, and it's a different story, and that's why it's an open discussion. It's a different story for everyone, right? We all live differently, and it's good to openly share what those different thoughts and beliefs indicate for others, so we can broaden our minds and our perspective of what it is to live a certain way and how we want to live our life, okay? I also read The Magic of Manifesting Love by Ryoshinohara. This changed me forever. I realize now truly what love is. 15 advanced manifestation techniques to stop chasing, start attracting, and become magnetic to your dream relationship. This really did help me. I didn't expect it to help me, but it really did. And the way I view not just a relationship, but everyone, a friendship, a family member, the bunny outside, like literally everything. And it made me realize that I hold the power in my hands, just like this cover indicates, to have love. I deserve to be loved, and that others do as well, and that we're literally all doing the same thing if you think about it. And some people just don't have this awareness, and if you have this book to bring about that awareness of how and the why, I swear, like, you may be gonna attract your soulmate right now. Like, this will just be amazing for you. Yeah, I read this during definitely a transitory stage in my life where, like there's certain chapters in your life where you're transitioning from one to the other, and wow, unexpected things just started happening, and miracles, and I believe truly that if you just pick up a book with the intention of really sitting and learning and be willing to change, right? We can read books after books, but if we're not applying action to what we read, it will only get you so far as improving your diction. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's why I recommend a chapter a day, because that will keep any negative self-inflicting doubts away. Okay. Really good. I feel the love just holding this book. It's just the energy behind it. I think I cried like 5 times reading this book. On that couch over there, it's my favorite spot. It's so peaceful. It's the middle of the house. I just read, and I think the first chapter or 2, I couldn't stop sobbing uncontrollably, honestly, because a lot connected with me in that moment, and I realized and learned what I should have known all this time, and that I've been treating myself quite poorly for so long, and holding a lot of bitterness and resentment behind what love even is, and judging others in relationships and thinking like, oh, people are just needy and desperate, and like, they can't handle being alone. But that's not the case. In fact, one thing that this book, for example, says, if I have to go into detail, is that if you can't be alone, basically, for a very long time, you should not actually even think about being with someone in a committed partnership, because you would thus rely on that individual for your needs overall. So this made me realize I was doing it the right way this whole time, though, because that was what was self-love to me, is being okay with who I am for years and years without anyone, without even actively seeking for that kind of attention or necessity in my life. So I suppose a lot of times we would cry while reading something like this, because we realize, again, just like I stated earlier, we're not crazy. We've been doing it right this whole time, and there are others you can read that you can relate to. And if my books are important, you feel less alone. You feel like you can indirectly connect with the author, and that inspires your life in more ways. You feel the gratitude behind what they're teaching you, and it's a priceless, irreversible thing. Every word you absorb into your knowledge and your wisdom, and you use those tools in the future in your life to your advantage. It's always going to be etched there, and you can always look back if you forget. Clarity and Connection by Young Pueblo. This was another one that sobbing profusely, okay? The back of this book says, find a partner who accepts you as you are, but also inspires you to evolve because they take their own growth seriously. Love will not seek to change you. It will embrace you so unconditionally that you will feel safe enough to heal the old and put effort into the new. The courage you both have to stay committed to the inner journey will reflect brightly on your relationship. So yeah, it is about finding someone that truly is willing to do that for you. Relationships are not perfect. They never will be. The illusion of perfection is just what makes things not work. I think when someone is together for years, they are always striving for that end point of perfection, and it's not possible. There's no end point. Life is not an end point. It's a continuum. It's a journey. It's a string, a rope of constants. And so, Clarity and Connection is a compilation of poetic type of verses that enable you to be inspired furthermore with love. And although I didn't really pick up the vibe of this book and the title of this book as something in relation to love and relationships with someone, but it actually is mostly about that. So I'm glad I did that, and I paired this at the same time in my life with that Magic of Manifesting Love book, and I'm telling you, it truly did do a miracle for me somehow, at least in how I felt at the time, and beginning to attract new opportunity in my reality, because your reality is just a composure of how you feel, what you think, how you see. That's it. Like, that's your world, and so you will only attract the resultant of those things into its own formulated equation, which makes us all different and unique. We can all sit at the same table, but we're going to see that table differently. We're going to see the food and the drinks on the table. We're going to see the people around us differently, the vibe, the energy, the atmosphere, based on how we view the world as a summary in its essence and core. So this will help you connect with yourself furthermore and realize what this life really is and how we can view it in a better light. Alright. Nastasia Ponomarenko, From Dust to Discipline, Achieve Your Fullest Potential. A guide for young adults striving for success. Yeah, I'll be honest, at first I thought this book was maybe a little bit for young adults, right? Like early 20s. I'm in my late 20s, so I was like, okay, why did I pick this book up? But I don't regret it one bit. The more I read, the more I was captivated and drawn in. And there were a couple deep-hitting moments and moments that woke me up and realized, yeah, she was really good at pushing the reader to be a little uncomfortable in a good light. I love books that will push you to do that a bit, not in a commanding, domineering method, but in a regard where it will allow you to see what's best and right for you and what's not. And she did talk about some form of addiction, I think, that she went through, if I remember correctly, or something that she was like depending on a person for validating her experience, like even with love and with what she sees, and she chooses not to do it. And she's a person of faith as well. She has a very successful business at a young age, and she talks about a mix of entrepreneurship with faith and love and family, and her experiences with an Eastern European family, which I could totally relate to. And so she's Ukrainian though, but it made me realize, wow, we are literally, it's crazy. Like, we thought we were the only ones suffering or dealing with the same type of specific life, and you realize, wow, there's more people. I mean, it almost made me want to reach out to her and be like, hey, be my best friend, right? But jokes aside, it says on the back, it is human nature to want to be and do better. And this is about attaining self-love, worth, happiness, overcoming fears, laziness, and the little mind mentality. Become dedicated, determined, and disciplined. Incorporate faith, forgiveness, and gratitude. Chase fulfilling happiness versus temporary happiness, and conquer the emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical bodies. So, it's so much more than that, though. Like, they have to put something in the back, but to me, it's so much more than that, and it really does not only share her story, but incorporate it into how that story of our lives can be fulfilled through realizing she did it, she made it, and she'll continue to do it and make it more. If Nastasia can do it, so can you. That sort of thing. That's what I got from that reading. It's wonderful. And yeah, From Dust to Discipline makes you realize that, yeah, discipline truly is. It's not the main component, but it is definitely almost like a side effect of you choosing to succeed, to move forward, regardless of your past living circumstances. And she's living, breathing proof of that. Virgo, The Art of Living Well and Finding Happiness According to Your Star Sign by Sally Kirkman. Another reading that made me feel less wild in this wild world. Okay, this is a wild, wild west of the astrological world. You are a Virgo. You are the perfectionist and writer of the zodiac. The stars can give you direction in your day-to-day life and enhance the many talents and qualities you possess, but in an increasingly unpredictable world, how can we make sense of them? What do they mean, from friendship to compatibility, careers to finance? This book will help you discover new elements to your sign whilst learning about the ancient art of astrology. So, this book is also, they have Taurus, they have Leo, they have all of them. Okay, it goes into depth every aspect and quality of your life possible while you living it as a Virgo, and who you are, what you're like, what you do, how you function, how you behave, how you act, what you like, what you don't like, and what can help you to live the best you that you are. And please also read your rising and your moon. It's not just this, okay? There are only a couple things in here I didn't relate to, because there's a couple things in Virgo in general I don't, because I have like rising Scorpio, Capricorn moon, something else in Libra, something else in Scorpio, something else in Scorpio, something else in Scorpio, something else in Scorpio. Like, a mess, right? So, please read your main three, okay? So you have a better grasp and understanding of who you are, but ultimately this will make you realize, yeah, also what better traits you have that you can use to your advantage. Alright, so that was a good, fun little one. And Don Miguel Ruiz, The Mastery of Love. Another one that I think this is the first one that I read in relation to love, and it just, boom. Like, I think that's when it started to activate and hit home. Definitely a couple things that made me shed a few tears, that made me realize, yeah, I'm home. I can relax. I can be okay to just be and to sit in my heart a bit and to feel what I feel, process what I process emotionally in relation to that. And I think this really healed me in some way. This opened me up to a lot more opportunity to experience what love is and to be able to share with others. And the mastery of love is really indicative of how you can conquer life itself just by living and choosing to live with love, okay? To experience what it is in its core, in its true nature. And that love itself is not demanding, again, is not something that will be controlling, manipulative. It's just the pure essence, the choice, the decision, the energy of what it is in itself. And that's why I think so many people have a difficulty having a firm grasp and understanding of what love is. You will have a better comprehension by reading this book, I guarantee, in some ways. I mean, if you go through a book and you don't learn something or helps you in some way, you maybe didn't really read the book, or you picked up the wrong book. Because as we evolve, certain readings will resonate more than others. Maybe we want to read fiction, maybe we want to read fantasy and mystery. I used to be those readers. Only Harry Potter, please. But when I've realized the power it held to learn more and utilize that knowledge in your advantage, holy cow, I never look back. And this is one of those that if you really want to start maybe attracting a relationship or finding yourself, attracting love to yourself, which it comes first with you, you've got to love yourself first before you do someone else, because you're not going to know how to love someone if you don't yourself, because you're another person too. It's all in your head. Get out of your way, Russ. This is a musician. Didn't know who he was. I didn't even know what he did. I just picked this book because I was like, oh, yeah, I'm always in my mind, consistently overthinking day in and day out. So, Honestly, a very easy read. I mean, you could be in middle school and read this. Like, it's very easy to read, and that's not an offense to the author and the artist. No, I like it this way sometimes because it's like, yeah, you need simple, straightforward curse words in this. Be mindful. But a quick, easy one that gets straight to the point, just as I like. And honestly, it's attention seeking without attention seeking. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not trying to be getting your attention. It just is in your face. And I like that he propels his message in that way. Shares some of his experience and how he made it from being broke and nothing to probably a millionaire now, right? I'm sure he has millions of followers. Amazing dude. And doesn't give a F, basically. Like, he will just say it as it is. I like genuine, authentic, honest people like that. But yeah, we can truly get out of our own head, our own way, and push us forward. We don't need to overthink what we're doing. We just need to do and trust that what we're doing. And I related to this because his work in his earlier days reminded me of my work in my earlier days. And, you know, sometimes having doubts in my mind, like, oh, this won't take off or this won't pick up or work out in my favor. And it always ultimately ended up doing so because I always had that vision and that trust in the manifestation, in the process, that I will eventually get there. And he is proving that it's true because he's tried and tried again in many aspects and finally met the right people to do the right things because of his belief overall. No matter what you do, as long as you believe, you will get there. So, this is a book I just started today. Once I finish a book, I immediately start a new one. It's called $100 Million Offers by Alex Hermosie. How to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. Dude, this book is so good. Russell Brunson, CEO of ClickFunnels. This is volume 1. So, it says charge 2 times, 10 times, or 100 times more than your competition without changing anything about what you sell. And, it says Alex Hermosie is an American entrepreneur, investor, and philanthropist. By the age of 30, Alex and his wife Layla's portfolio of companies crossed $100 million in valuation. The couple now spend their time helping entrepreneurs scale their businesses profitably without outside capital. So, although I'm not looking to make a bajillion dollars, this is a book I need because I need things to push me and propel me further, because I get very depressed if I don't have outside forces or influences telling me that I can do better or do more, right? Like, I just get in such a slump because a lot of times our mind, it gets so comfortable. We get lazy. We think we already have it all. We have everything we need. We can just live in our shell or our bubble. I need stuff like this to get me to think otherwise, that there's so much more out there for me and that I can experience life more fully and fulfilling. So stuff like this, that's even stuff that I don't even understand fully sometimes, like the whole business world that deeply. I just read because I'm always looking to expand my education and of finance. I love books on finance, and it's been a while that I've picked up a book like this because, as you can see, all these books lately I've been reading have been more deeply spiritual and profound in other aspects of life. So you need a balance, right? You need the physical, the mental, emotional, the spiritual. So this is more the physical, the finance, the money, the cash, you know, the coins, right? The physical, the stuff that buys the physical, your house, pays your house, right? So it's a healthier approach to balance, though. So now that I'm back on it, I'm excited. I read only the first chapter or so far, just the beginning. Great thus far. Basic principles of just really, there's not much to say because I'm only just starting it, but just my impression and reading reviews of this thus far is that this is going to be great for me, that I can allow my businesses to propel furthermore by just someone else's experience and showing how simple and easy it is. Perhaps this can help you more than me, honestly, especially if you I suppose, value money more than I do, or know what you want to utilize the money for, because money really is just a tool to get what you want. You know, looking at that number on the screen was never satisfying, at least for me personally. I could care less if I made 1 cent today or $1 million today. You know what I'm saying? It's just something that is something you use to get something else, and that something else you get may not even make you happy or fulfilled. Maybe I'm thinking of it too spiritually, but you do have to be realistic to an extent that, yeah, we need it for certain things, right? It's just what it is nowadays. So if you have a more business mind and you really are seeking to get as far ahead as you possibly can, please do it in a way where you are able to help people do the same, or help people in general, because it will never make you fulfilled to say, I have 100 million in this and that. Okay, big deal, you know. The big deal is what influence and impact you made in other people's lives. So that's a book for you if you're willing to propel yourself to do that, I suppose. Now, this is an interesting story. I'm going to read this after the 100 Mil book, Prophet or Madman, A Bridge Between Worlds, Bruce Adams. I don't know what this is, but my stepdad works and meets a lot of people through his business, and so, like, he met this author that wrote this book and gave this book to him, and it's basically a mix of God and the spiritual, right? Like, sort of crosses those two lines, and I love stuff like this. Goes with Bible verses, but also the deeply spiritual, as what most people think spiritual, the yin and yang, stuff like that. So I can't wait to read this. Just thought I'd shout it out because that's pretty cool that he met this author. Don't know if you heard of this book, but this stuff also reminds me of other works that I've read, at least from what I'm just skimming over so far. So I can't wait to read it. I'll maybe share one day what that's about, or maybe feature in a future video in some way. I just found it really cool, and he gave that book to me to read, to borrow. So I was really like, okay, yeah, I think you meet certain people in your life, or certain people that met certain people, to show you something or provide you some guidance and insight into something else you need to learn, you know. So I thought that was pretty cool that he met that person, and yeah, so yeah. Thank you so much